Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we got the regular season finale here in the Cup Series at the Charlotte Roval. Very excited to bring you guys this one today. But first we have some Xfinity Series racing here from Daytona International Speedway with Paul Menard behind the wheel for us as usual here in that Menard's Chevrolet number 77 Camaro. So obviously starting at the very back of the field for the Xfinity Series race here. But obviously the focus is on the Cup Series race. A lot to unpack going into that one here in just a couple of minutes time, and I'll kind of dive into the storylines we got going on into that race. Now there's multiple different things that's happening with the regular season championship as well as a playoff situation, as everybody has one last shot to get themselves into the playoffs here today in the Cup Series. But we were underway here from Daytona now with Paul Menard behind the wheel here as he went down into turns one. So of course starting at the back of the field definitely doesn't help us here, as it takes us quite a while to get ourselves throughout that field and gaining that crucial track position here. So we knew our chances of winning this thing weren't very good, of course, now with Menard, but we were hoping that we could at least try and get a top 10 out of it. That's kind of what the goal was set at for this race here for us now as we went down this back straightaway. Paul gaining a few crucial positions here and there, and then we came to a little bit later. He was making some three wide moves down the back straightaway, down the front straightaway, you name it, he was trying it. Three wide pretty much everywhere he could take it now as he was up the inside of the 15 there. I believe of Colby Howard that is now, as we would kind of get held up a little bit, but we're going to come through now to a little bit later in this race. This now actually being the very end, the final lap of this race, and you can see that the top 10 wasn't going to happen. It was actually quite the rough finish here for Paul Menard now as it goes down through turn 3 and out of turns 4 on this final lap in the Daytona 250 here. Down the front straightaway, it's not going to be enough from Paul Menard, but of course we've already got the wins. It doesn't matter for us here in Daytona, as it would be the number 11 of AJ Allmendinger picking up the victory here from Daytona. So P19, not the finish we were looking for. Still, of course, have some regular season races to go in the Xfinity Series before we get ready to go for the playoffs. So there you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen, all the way down towards the bottom part of the top 30, and then at the very bottom we got Alex Labbe, the Canadian, who just won recently here in the Xfinity Series of our career mode. But now we're going to go through into the Cup Series race here for the Charlotte Roval regular season finale. We got the NZXT paint scheme back on the car for us here in this episode now. So we've had some bad history with qualifying at road courses this season. Of the 3 or 4 we've done already, we've crashed pretty much in just about every single one in qualifying, and well, I would end up making that same mistake here once again at the Charlotte Roval. You're about to see as we came through out of the right-hander right here. I get loose, I overcorrect, and boom, into the wall I go. That was the end of the lap. Straightforward. Now, as I've been pushing it really hard on these qualifying laps this season on road courses, and I've been paying the price for it. We came through, though, to cross the line with a 124.575, and we qualify all the way down to P30 here for the Bank of America Roval 400. So we got some work to do, of course, but we know that we have a good history here at the Charlotte Roval, and there's no reason we can't still fight for a win here today in Charlotte. Now as you look through the rest of the order, so we are about to get into those storylines, and you're here in just a few moments time. Where's Austin Dillon? He's down in the mid-20s. Chase Elliott, he's definitely up in the top 5. Sure enough, he qualifies P3 with Lewis Hamilton, Formula 1 7-time champion, on pole. Alright boys, it's been one heck of a regular season, a lot of ups and downs, but it ends on a high hopefully here today in the Roval for us. So, I mean, we've got a couple wins now. We won the last road course. Let's go get another one today. There you hear myself on the radio as we're getting ready to go green for the Bank of America Roval 400 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A lot of storylines coming into this one. The regular season championship is up for grabs between myself and Harrison Burton. Burton has a 5-point lead on us coming into this for the regular season championship, so it's going to come down to the wire there. Chase Elliott, of course, is another one we're watching. So he pretty much has to hope that Austin Dillon just does not get into the top 30 in points. And Dillon needs about 20 points over, I can't remember who it is, but Austin Dillon definitely looking on the outside right now of the top 30 as the Charlotte Roval regular season finale gets underway. But now 3 things we're watching: that regular season championship between myself and Burton, and then of course Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon. So if Austin Dillon does not get into the top 30 in points, well, Chase Elliott remains in the playoffs. If Chase Elliott wins this race, well, obviously doesn't change anything for him. Or if Austin Dillon, though, gets in the top 30 in points by the end of this race, Elliott is in a must-win scenario. And of course, if a guy that's not in the playoffs currently wins this race, so that puts Chase Elliott out again. So a bit of a stack up right there from that 3 of Austin Dillon, actually, who was sideways. And we got some damage on the front bumper of the car, so a bit of a mistake up there from him. And that kind of caused a bit of a stack up there, and unfortunately, we ended up paying the price for that. So I was feeling like being being pretty aggressive in this race here. We know we have a chance to win every time we come to the Charlotte Roval. I wasn't just going to be a pushover here. I was trying to get up in the mix, move these guys out of the way. Now as Chase Briscoe is out of the way, this is looking like it's going to be the first time Briscoe in his career is going to miss the playoffs. Both him and Hailie Deegan are going to be the two Stewart-Haas Racing drivers to miss the playoffs if they don't end up winning this race here at Charlotte now as we come through this bus stop chicane. So I definitely can tell you that right now at SHR, we're very sideways. A big save there as Bell goes by, but SHR, there's a situation where they're downsizing to 3 cars at the end of the season. It's going to be between both Briscoe and Deegan to decide which one of those drivers is going to be on the outside of SHR at the end of this season, because one of them has to go. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there now as we're going to look to the outside of Christopher Bell. So we come through to complete this first in opening lap, and we really didn't gain much at all. So that was a little bit frustrating, knowing now that we still got quite a significant amount of work to do here if we want to keep on moving our way forwards. But now I was moving my way up the inside of the 3 of Austin Dillon. We were now 3-1 in the middle between him and Ryan Blaney, our future teammate. But fortunately, we get out of that without any issues, and now look up the inside of Anthony Alfredo in that 21 car. So we get clear of him, move up into P23, now running down to the inside of William Byron. 2 wins on the season for William Byron, by the way, and still at the regular season finale, we are the only Hendrick Motorsports car with a victory. Now as I got into that left rear quarter panel of Bubba Wallace into the bus stop, that kind of put him into Ross Chastain. Now we're 3 wide between Byron and Ross Chastain here, right in the middle. I'm side drafting that 47 very hard. I was even right into his actual quarter panel and whatnot. Thankfully that did not turn into anything there. But we get clear of Chastain right there on the exit of oval turns 4 into that chicane here, and now almost into the top 20, but I get sideways again. I was definitely dealing with some handling issues, and I was just trying to get myself to kind of calm down and just think big picture here, because we still have a lot of racing to go here from the Charlotte Roval now as we were up the inside of that 23 of Bubba Wallace once again, now on lap 3. This time, though, we would be able to get past that DoorDash Toyota Camry for 2311 Racing and try to run now down Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And sure enough, at the end of lap 3 through oval turns 4, as Lewis Hamilton was continuing to lead the way, we would pass that number 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., move up into P18, and then try to run down this next big group of cars right here. And we only had 2 laps to go at this point in stage 1, but coming to the end of this penultimate lap of the stage, we got to that right hand side there of Daniel Hemrick, make it 3 wide with our rival of Joey Logano as well as Derek Crownson, then 2311 Toyota Camry there, as we also look to the outside of Noah Gragson. So we're getting aggressive, making some good moves right here, but there as we come through out of that final chicane, you saw a bit of a mistake, but we come through to start this final lap of stage 1, and now we're already up to P15. So we're doing a good job just kind of casually moving our way through the field here, and now as we have an opportunity to potentially get maybe even 13th from Kyle Busch if we can get past that number 1 of Gragson. Very quick, a bit of a mistake right there as I clipped that turtle, and that really messed up the car there, but fortunately we save it. Now we're still alongside that 1 car of Gragson, who will be in the playoffs. He just won a race recently for the first time in his Cup career back at Michigan International Speedway. So we do get clear of Gragson now as we came through out of oval turns 2. The caution would actually come out, and that would end stage 1 for us a little bit early by about half a lap. So we end up having to settle for P14 after starting down about 30th place here in this first and opening stage. Pretty good car, guys. I think I just really need to be careful with the throttle input, but other than that, I think we got a good chance here. There you hear myself on the radio to the team. Of course, there was no pit stops that are necessary here at the end of stage 1. So we would get ready to go back. Green flag racing here in just a few moments' time as we're looking through that order. Eric Jones all the way down at the bottom in the McLaren 02 car. His chances to make the playoffs for that McLaren team have unfortunately come to an end as he continues to be winless this season. So he will be out of this race as well, I should mention here, as we're getting ready to take the green flag for the start of this second stage here from the Charlotte Roval for the Bank of America 400. And for the start of stage 2 here in Charlotte, it is time to get amped. There you have the amp segment. You saw it all right there. Not the prettiest start, to say the least. We got some damage on the right side of the car. We were plowing into that bus stop. It was not pretty. So definitely not looking great right now. The car is damaged, but we're just kind of managing it at this point as we're trying to look up that right-hand side of CJ McLaughlin in that 78 car right there, but couldn't quite pull it off. So now only 5 laps again here in Stage 2, and as well, Lewis Hamilton once again was dominating Stage 2 as I got into the back of the 19 of Harrison Burton. We spent the whole first stage working our way through the field. Burton got stage points. That was not what we needed because we are battling for this regular season championship with Harrison Burton. So it is crucial to beat him here in Stage 2, and especially in that third stage, considering he gained some points on us there in Stage 1. So my guess at this point, it was probably around a 10-point gap or so that Harrison had on myself. So we definitely have some work to do now as I completely forget where he finished in Stage 1. But now as we came through the 2 laps ago, you can see that Harrison actually stretched out the gap a lot, and I didn't make any mistakes in that lap. I was just downright slow compared to Harrison, so that was a bit surprising right there. But I was trying to just get my car back in line, but I think the damage had a bit of effect on how the car was driving, because as we came through to start the final lap, I'm still quite a ways back from that 19 of Harrison Burton, but he has now run down that group of 7th place and all the way through to about maybe 5th or so, or 6th. So they were all slowing him up, and that was allowing myself, of course, to start to reel him in. But as you can see, there was just really not enough time for myself to be able to actually get there and do anything. So Lewis Hamilton leads the way down the back straightaway into that bus stop chicane now for the final time in the second stage here at the Charlotte Roval. So Lewis Hamilton's going to sweep the first 2 stages of this race. He's been very strong at the road courses this season, like we expect from him in his rookie NASCAR season, but at the ovals he has really struggled time and time again. So next season he will be back in that Mercedes car. I hope to see some better things from him on the oval side of racing here. It'll be really interesting to see how that turns out here as we come through oval 3 and oval turns 4 for the final time now in this second stage from the Bank of America 400. So couldn't quite run down Harrison Burton there in stage 2, so we're going to lose yet another point to him as we come through to cross the line. So now we're going to need to beat him probably by at least 10 positions if we want to win this regular season championship here in the Charlotte Roval today. Kyle Larson up there in 7th place, not going to be enough for him. Larson is in a must-win situation as well, and our other teammate of Alex Bowman as well in a must-win situation. Chase Elliott, the only one that's on Hendrick, and the only one in reality of the whole playoff scenario that's not in a must-win situation to get in. He just has to hope that Austin Dillon does not get into the top 30 in points now. So I did make a few little adjustments, by the way, on the car there. It's not very often I adjust the car at the Charlotte Roval, but I felt like I needed some here going into this third and final stage. So we just made those quick adjustments, and now we're going to get ready to go green for the start of this third and final stage. Now, as Kyle Busch, he's all the way down in 39th place here, as we lose 4 positions on the pit lane, and that was just simply because we had to repair the damages that we had picked up in that second stage. Now, as the third and final stage, though, is underway, Lewis Hamilton had a horrendous pit stop. He dropped down to about P5 there, actually down to P7, that is, as Austin Cindric is now the leader here in the Charlotte Roval. So a horrendous pit stop for Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes now, and now he's got to think that his chances of winning are over, because it is so hard to pass for the AI driver specifically at this Charlotte Roval. So very unfortunate for Lewis Hamilton now having a bad pit stop now, as we look back to his McLaren days way back in like 2012, and he knows all about bad pit stops there from that year. Now as we look to that now left hand side, it's 4 wide through the right hander. That's a very rare and dangerous situation at the Charlotte Roval, but somehow we make it work. I was in the grass at one point. I nearly clipped that barrier right there on the right hand side, but now to the back of the Red Bull rookie of Christian Eckes. Now as I'm going to cut down to the apron, I said, you know what, I'm not waiting around. I'm going to go down to the apron to pass you. That is completely legal at this racetrack, so don't go after me for making that move right there. There was nothing wrong with that right there. Now as we came through though into this bus stop, once again going in a little bit deep there, as you can see, just a whole train of cars that's really going to allow us to hopefully get right on the back of them and start clicking off positions against that 78, against the 5, the 44, as well as the 19 of Harrison Burton here, with hopefully within the next handful of laps. As you guys know, we always run relaxed cautions at the road courses, so the chances of it staying green throughout this whole third and final stage are pretty good. So definitely got to gain this track position as much as possible, because as well, every time we come to the Charlotte Roval, we are about a lap or 2 short on field in this third and final stage without a caution. So we tried making it one season and we were way off, and we ended up running out of fuel and losing the race. So now we know enough to pit at least with one lap to go there as we look to the right hand side of that number 5 of Kyle Larson here as we go through the corner. Sure enough, we clear Larson, move up into that 8th position now as we run down Lewis Hamilton. He actually got into a side-by-side battle with Harrison Burton. He was to the outside of him and through oval 3. That allowed me to get clear of Hamilton. Now move up into P7 as we went down into that final chicane here. So things were starting to look good because now here's this regular season championship battle right here in our hands as we look to the right hand side of Burton into turns 1. He's going to remain up our left hand side now into turns 2, but we are going to be able to get clear of Harrison for the time being. But now a few corners later, I went a little bit wide here on the left side trying to get around Keselowski and sideways there, and that opened the door wide open for Burton to get past. So we had to wait all the way till the next lap of lap 20 to make a move once again up the inside of Burton down into turn 3, and once again we clear him with absolutely no problems at all. So now the target is at 41 of Brad Keselowski in a top 5 position on the line now, as it looks like we're going to need a caution or something to run down Austin Cindric at this point here as we came through out of oval turns 2. I was still being aggressive. I have the draft from Keselowski. I decided we're going to full set it on the inside into the bus stop. It's not going to work very well with Hamlin there. We overshoot the corner. Keselowski into the side of us, probably not happy. He runs into the barrier. We get it back going and nearly up and over we go all of a sudden as I got way too much turtle right there. And wow, that was a huge moment. We keep the car in one piece. We keep it going in the right direction, but it's been absolute madness here at the Charlotte Roval today. Stage 2 was a little bit calm. Stage 1 was wild. And now this third stage is starting to ramp up a little bit now as we came through that final chicane, got back past CJ McLaughlin. Now we would get on this full attack mode because I knew at this point we had thrown any chances of winning this race, at least that we had away, but we were on the attack now. Move up the inside of the 42 of Tyler Reddick with less than 10 laps to go. We had run down Harrison Burton. I wasn't waiting around. I said, you know what, just get out of my way, and you're going to see it right here as we go down towards oval turns 1. I'm just going to get physical with Harrison Burton, just shove him out of the way. Now up into P7 we go as we try to run down Kyle Larson, our Hendrick Motorsports teammate there in that Brandt number 5 Chevrolet Camaro, and out of turns 2 down into turn 3 now on lap 23 we would be able to make the pass on Kyle Larson. Then look to the left hand side of Keselowski, and now we're going to be able to make the pass on him. He's going to fight back on that right hand side pretty well. We're sideways again, but we save it, and now sure enough we get clear of that number 41 of Brad Keselowski as I get into the barrier, into the wall. We do some damage to the right side of the car, but I wasn't too concerned at this point with that. We're just going to stay with it and keep focused on the front now as we look to the left hand side of Denny Hamlin into oval turns 1, and now with 6 laps to go we move in front of Hamlin and take over P4. We knew the green flag pit stop, by the way, was coming up very shortly, so we had to prepare for that here in the coming laps. But now up at the front of the field there was actually issues. Austin Cindric with 5 laps to go crashes out in the final chicane. The lead goes to Alex Bowman. All of a sudden that 33, his engine had failed, so we were coming up on it. I was unaware of this at the time, and then I see this right here. Cindric's right in the way. We're going to go to the right hand side, but now Elliott anyways is outside of the playoffs because Bowman will win his way in. So all of a sudden we have a whole lot going on here. Hendrick Motorsports 1, 2, 3, no caution for that car just in the middle of the track going 2 miles per hour. It's going to be another 3 hours before he even gets over to the pit lane. So now on the end of lap 26 I'm deciding to come into the pit lane just in case maybe a caution does come out. So out of oval turns 4 I go way too fast into the pit lane. We speed by like 20 miles per hour. Just stupid mistake from myself. We take no tires and just splash of fuel, and we end up having to serve our penalty. So now an 18-second pit stop instead of like a 3-second pit stop we just had to sit through. So that completely throws our chances away. I'm sure Bowman's going to be coming into the pit lane within the next lap or two as we come through out behind Joey Logano in P19, but up ahead his teammate of Hemrick is blowing an engine out of the corner. Now we're going to look to the right hand side. Logano comes over into us, puts us into the wall, and then I was just seeing red at this point. I was saying, come here Joey, I am not waiting around. So we're going to go down into the corner, and I just completely dumped my rival of Joey Logano. That was probably not the smartest decision for a Hendrick Motorsports standpoint, because you're going to see here now that is actually going to end up bringing out a caution and forcing overtime in the Charlotte Roval regular season finale. I was probably not in a position to be doing anything like that to Logano, and I might have just costed one of my teammates a chance at making the playoffs. So now the situation, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, because I was looking at it like this. We don't have to pit. We can stay out and take the lead, but here was the problem. I did not want to affect the situation between Bowman and Elliott. They're both racing for the final spot in the playoffs here on this final restart. So I actually decided to just pit just so I did not get out in front of those guys and screw up the battle for that final playoff spot. So I actually now decided, you know what, we're just going to go have the restart of a lifetime here, and I guarantee you guys, 18th to a top 5 in 2 laps, I was going to make it happen. So now here we are down in P18. Like I said, we could have stayed out and been fine on field. I just did not want to mess with that battle for the last playoff spot and completely screw over one of our teammates. So as we go down into turns 1, we get a great launch now, and we're already almost into the top 10. As yes, sure enough, we are into the top 10 as we come through turns 2, 3 wide with Noah Gregson, Bubba Wallace there for a brief moment down. Now into turns 3, and we have made up a ton of ground all of a sudden. But Denny Hamlin ends up being the leader because he stayed out under the last caution. So now it doesn't matter between Elliott and Bowman. So I should have just stayed out anyways at this point here as we come through the next few corners to the right-hand side of Harrison Burton. What a restart. I called it myself. I said we're going from 18th to the top 5. We're already up into about P3 and not even half a lap there. A bit of a mistake though for myself. But now Bowman on the outside looking in. He was going to win his way in if I probably did not crash Joey Logano. So I felt really bad about that. But now what it stands is Chase Elliott is in the playoffs if Austin Dillon hasn't gotten enough points today to get into the top 30, and Austin Dillon has had a solid run here today in the Charlotte Roval. But now Denny Hamlin leading the way. He won last episode in New Hampshire, and now here he is leading the way in his final trip to the Charlotte Roval here as we approach now the final lap of this race as we run in that 4th position. No pressure from De Benedetto behind. Definitely, like I said, still felt really bad about what had happened there now, as I really should have just not run into the back of that 22 of Joey Logano as I run into the back of the 9 of Chase Elliott though. But the white flag is now out, and we're too far back to run down Denny Hamlin at this point. But nonetheless, what a restart we had to get up into the top 5, and really the best we've run all day now as we look to the right hand side of Elliott, and now we're going to pass him. Points don't matter for Chase Elliott at all in this situation, so I did not really hesitate to make that pass on that number 9. Now but Auto Parts Chevrolet as we get very sideways out of what turns 4 I believe that was. So that was a mistake there that allowed Elliott to fight back to the left hand side, but we waste no time getting back clear of him. So now back into P3 as Alex Bowman desperately tries to fight down Denny Hamlin here in his final opportunity on the final lap of the regular season. He's about to come up 1 spot short of making the playoffs here as we come through Oval 1 and Oval 2 for the final time in the Bank of America 400 at the Charlotte Roval. Denny Hamlin leads the way into that bust-up chicane here. What a wild race it has been. We've had a whole bunch of different things go on, and then of course the very recent incident where we took out Joey Logano, bringing out the only caution due to an incident here today. Now as we come through Oval 3 and 4 for the final time, Denny Hamlin, who picked up his 3rd win in the last episode at New Hampshire, is going to now pick up win number 4, which is the most wins of anybody this season here at the Charlotte Roval. We come through to cross the line in P3 as Alex Bowman comes up 1 spot short of making it into the playoffs. But now the question is, Austin Dillon finished 15th. Was it good enough to put him into the top 30 in points? And did we gain enough points over Harrison Burton to win the regular season championship? We're about to find out literally right now here, because we're going to check out the point standings right here. So there you see the rest of the order, by the way, with Hemrick and Jones at the very back. Cindric, I guess, somehow got to the pit lane and fixed their car, and they threw a new engine in it. But you see, Elliott was 5th in the points. He still might have missed the playoffs. We unfortunately lose the regular season championship by 9 points due to Harrison Burton hanging on. But here is the moment of truth. Does Chase Elliott make it, or is Austin Dillon in the top 30? And no, Austin Dillon does not make it into the playoffs. There are 484 points, not good enough for the top 30. So Chase Elliott will be the only driver in the playoffs on points this season here. So he will fight it out in his final season with Hendrick Motorsports before he makes that move to McLaren next season. So in the next episode, of course, we'll be starting the Cup Series playoffs. We got Darlington coming up in the Xfinity Series, and then we got Dover in the Cup Series. We actually are 20 points above the cut line, so I'm actually pretty happy with that, but at the same time, that is not comforting whatsoever, because we know that gap is going to get smaller as the playoffs go on. As always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. There you see the rest of the playoff grid on your screen, and before we end it, of course, here, I just would like to say once again, thank you so much for the continued support over this regular season. I would like to say thank you to the Going Racing members here on the channel as well. MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasseur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana9302, as well as Kingman XL. You guys help out so much, and I really do appreciate it. And I hope you all, everybody that watched, enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.